stealing Tawny's thunder. This is her project. Go ahead. Okay, keep stealing the thunder. All right. She's getting it warmed up there. We are trying a new kind of presentation, not new to the world, just new for staff. You know, you usually see a few PowerPoint slides. Well, this is what they call a Prezi. And we'll see how it goes for us since this is our first time. Just like last night was our first. We're doing a lot of firsts. Let's put it that way. So
2020, there's a lot of firsts.
A lot of firsts. A lot of things we'd like to not have had been a first, but it is what it is. How you doing over there?
It's good. I just had to adjust what was being shown on the screen. So
all right. Take it away then.
All right. So this is reporting on the community stakeholder survey that went out. So let's hope that all of the buttons work as planned.
Hold on.
So,
The mics are on.
Okay, because I'm just watching on my video, so I don't want to watch if they're looking.
You can tell us how it looks and everything.
Yeah.
all right, so this is just an overview. The board has seen this likely several times, but for those that we're sharing with in the community, we wanted to make sure we were touching on the parcels that are comprising Bass Lake Regional Park. So Rescue Union School District is 142 acres, which the district purchased in December of 18. It includes the lake itself and the existing Selwood Field. The EID property was purchased second, although we actually started that one before the rescue property in a purchase and sale agreement. That one ended up closing in January 2020, giving us an additional 14.74 acres to the project. Next was the El Dorado County property of 41.7 acres, and that was closed in February of 2020. And lastly, huge success, the Village Daylight H piece, which is just at 12.5 acres. We did a dedication agreement on that in August of 2020. So to go over, we've had this concept design now for probably about the last 4 to 5 months. Maybe a little bit longer, but we've been adjusting it along the way. A lot of the amenities haven't changed in the last 4 months based off of just the feedback that we had been receiving and the direction that we were going with this. So it includes a 2,500 square foot museum and outdoor education center, interpretive signs along with nature trails, lighted sports fields, adventure playground for the 2 to 5 and 5 to 12 years age group, which is also an inclusive playground planned. That way for all ages and stages can go out there and enjoy the park. Bocce, sand volleyball, dog park, and the list goes on. Some exciting pieces though are the dock and boat ramp. We are planned on having only shoreline fishing and no motorized boats, but you can take kayaks or paddle boards, something like that out there to enjoy the water. Something else that we've added through the design process is an 8,500 square foot event center. We've received a lot of feedback on there really isn't a good location in El Dorado Hills to be able to hold those larger events or a nice wedding location. So this seems to be a beautiful spot that if you wanted to hold a wedding or a really nice event of the larger scale, we can offer it here at Bass Lake. So then including with that would be two parking lots, one at the main area and then one to the east, which would be over by the dry pond shown there, which is where the museum and education center would be located. And then we also plan on having a maintenance building. There's kind of that. So this is getting into the actual survey. So the survey went out from June 29th through August 24th. And we used several avenues to be able to send the survey out. It went through the district e-newsletter, it went through social media, as well as our website. We sent it over to Rescue Union School District, who then also pushed it through their notification list and Cameron Park CSD. And we also targeted our stakeholder groups, which are those that we have MOUs with, soccer, lacrosse, and Little League. So to go into the highlights, we had an amazing response from the survey that was sent out. So in that just shy of 2-month time frame that the survey was out, we actually received 3,077 responses, but Some of those were duplicates, which were removed. So we actually had 2,996 unique responses, which is an excellent response rate. Of those, which was exciting, was 1,084 actually have an interest in volunteering to take care of this in every way. So we had from being able to participate in maintenance to taking part in the educational pieces and things like that. So it was exciting to see. It's information that I want to be able to bring forward in more detail to the Parks and Planning Committee to actually see those comments and the details of that. Of that, we received 790 actually comments. The survey ended up getting pushed out to individuals, I need to note, from the disc golf community. And that then was distributed en masse. We did end up receiving some comments that were kind of mixed with a Bass Lake that's down in Central California. And so we had to weed through those and kind of make sure that the comments that were being received were pertinent to our project, not the other location. But we did receive several comments regarding the disc golf, as well as 139 what we labeled as local comments, which in those comments, we didn't ask for individuals to share their personal information, but the comments that they made gave us kind of a connection to knowing that they were local. So what was really interesting through this is that the amenities that we were asking for comments on and people's rankings are the amenities that are in the concept design for the most part. There were a few that were not, but they were really evenly responded to. So we took a ranking of least important was 1 and most important was 5. And we ended up drilling in kind of in the area of highlighting the responses that we received that were more or less from the ranking of 3 on and higher. So and for this presentation, we're really just kind of drilling in on the top 5. We had a couple that received the same response percentage, and so I'll go through that then. So to kind of dive into from the 3% up or 3 points and to higher, it includes the amenities that we currently have, which just kind of solidifies that we're headed in the right direction with our community and the elements that we're wanting to provide. Number 1 was walking trails. Number 2 was natural playground, which is kind of that design that's more using nature, like rocks and hillsides, kind of more wood type of elements as far as the look and play that they'll be able to experience. Picnic shelters and shade was very important. We received a lot of comments back on the kayak launch site as well as the floating pier. Those were tied really closely. And then mountain bike trail. That's kind of where we cut off this, kind of diving into those highlights, but then you will end up seeing that there really is not much of a spread between the Frisbee disc golf, the interpretive center, the nature elements, demonstration garden, and the running trail. Right above that, it's not showing in this screen right now, but I want to make sure that I capture it. It was also tied with the running trail was the athletic fields and sports play. So what we did here was in trying to show kind of where the locations are that we're wanting to offer these elements and showing that it's already part of the design, we're highlighting the top 5, which the walking trails was 1. We do their property, actually, it'll surround the lake and go through the active play areas, but also where we're going to have interpretive signs and little nodes for education is where that yellow line is showing. So it shows that we're already planning to deliver on that element, as well as the natural playground. Here is kind of an idea of what we were thinking of. We had received a lot of comments back on kind of that ability to climb and it's kind of more of an outdoorsy type of feel versus a fabricated playground that's made out of plastics or metal. Next is picnic shelters. comments that came back ended up really saying that this would be a place that they would want to come and stay and do a lot of the elements that we're showing we're wanting to have at the park. And so we're showing here just the kind of different areas where picnic shelters are already depicted on the concept design. There's a lot of animation that kind of goes in and out. The next was the kayak launch. So we are showing that it's located there, and I get very directionally turned around with the drawing, but it's south of the lake. And that'd be a great spot. There's gonna be a little parking area there as well. And then next was mountain bike trails. So we are planning on having a multi-use wider trail that will be able to be used for bikes, but also for pedestrians. But we want to make sure that we're being able to include as many elements and as many activities as possible. So this one would be one that's open for the bikes, but as far as making a mountain bike trail that there's a lot of jumps or different, kind of abilities to go around and really race, I don't see that happening necessarily in this area. Okay, so the next steps, we're finalizing the CEQA. We're getting really close. The traffic study, we received some comments back on, and we're responding to that. We are looking at finalizing the remaining environmental reports for November, so we can start getting that pushed out to the public and through the county. The final concept design is something that with this survey, I know that we're continuing to do public engagement and gathering input, but from this survey that we have and the comments that we received, it really shows and kind of solidifies that we're on the right path, and what we're wanting to deliver here is being shown on the plan. So our next steps as far as concept design, if we have to amend anything through the traffic study or any of the CEQA, we'll do so, but we're really close. And so our next steps then would be going through that board approval process and taking it through committee, and then refining the budget that's going to be associated with the phases that we're going to do, and then moving into construction drawings. So this is just where we want to conclude. I want to thank the board for your vision, your support, and dedication, like it's noted here. Without that, we wouldn't be moving forward on a project of this magnitude. It was identified in the master plan and even previous to the most recent 2016. And we're just being able to see that through the community's comments that we're really headed in the right path on one of probably the biggest projects that the district has done. And so we wouldn't be able to do that without you. So we want to say thank you. And then another huge partner in this is the El Dorado Hills Promise Foundation, and they've been doing a ton of work, legwork out there of doing the tours and the fundraising and pushing that side of things to help this project come to fruition also does not go unnoticed. And so I just want to say thank you to them as well.
So again, Promise Foundation has been given, solicited it, has been given it a leadership role in getting this concepted beyond just what it's going to look like, form and function, programming, been working on it and got it to this point. And when you say it was an excellent amount of input, I would say it's an exceptional amount of input. We heard from our master plan consultant that they would have been happy with something like 400 or 500 inputs. And I said, well, we just got 3,000. So we want 10,000 from the community on master plan.
On our master plan, yeah.
I did. And I mean, we really do. The board has made it clear, and staff prescribes to that and wants it. We want to be driven by the community. That's what we're here for. It's in our name. So that's an easy one. It's hard to do, but it's an easy endeavor, something that we want to strive for. On the overall, I think from the concept and the inputs that we received, it really affirms the work that's been laid out. On how many, are you able to go back to that bar graph that it was, how many different items are on there? 25?
There was 23.
So of 23, when I look at the concept drawing, there's probably 21 of those 23. Maybe an area of clarification for me and the viewers and possibly the board is on trails and multi-use trails. I understand that through the visioning from the Promise Foundation that there's a necessity or a request to necessity have some walking trails only so as to not disturb some of the flora and fauna, the plants and wildlife. So, but you're also incorporating where you have bike trails, that's multi-use as well. And it's concept right now. So it's still not laid out how much bike or multi-use trails there'll be. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and I mean, Alan,
So-
you duly on the Promise Foundation, I know, and we do have members of the Promise Foundation online, and if we needed to, I mean, I know they're listening.
Yes. So one of the big things in our master plan is connectivity and multi-use trails. And so we always need to be mindful. I don't want to set us up for another issue such as we have had with New York Creek Trail and having to switch that over. There's no way for us to be able to really monitor and, for a lack of a better way of putting it, police the trail system out there. And so as we move forward, I just want to make sure that it's multi-use and we're not setting up the district for a future issue when that comes forward. But really appreciate that there was the inclusion of those multi-use trails as well. And I did see the definition of the different ones, and I completely understand it, but I know you guys understand.
Yeah.
That's a great point, just from a standpoint of thinking ahead. What does this look like 20 and 30 years from now? The beauty of this park is brand new, right? We can establish it, and multi-use. I mean, it's ADA accessible. I mean, a lot of them are going to be ADA accessible.
Yeah.
We don't have that
Yeah.
a lot. So trails, dogs, people walking dogs, just walking along with bikes. I think we can do this well to be wide enough. I agree, 100% agree with you. We've got a plan set out.
I know we're
the
only in concept, but
the
I
beauty-
just have to throw that out there.
The beauty is we don't have longstanding old traditions
Yes.
and property owners adjacent and that type of thing. This is kind of, it's a great point. I 100% agree. And I would thank you so much, Tawny, for the presentation and the effort you guys put in. 3,000 bits of data are so valuable out of 45,000 people in this community. It's just fantastic. 15,000, what do we have? 15,000 plus rooftops, and we've got a fifth of those raised their hand and contributed. So that's a real tribute to both you guys reaching out and touching so many people and getting them excited and engaged. The comment I would make too, in the addition, is we've got so many of these people that have raised their hand to volunteer, as you said, which is unheard of, that we've got 1,000 people that are out there saying, hey, maybe not 1,000, but
Yeah.
hundreds of people raising their hand and saying, yeah, I want to be part of this successful thing. So we got to capitalize on that and run it to ground and use every resource we can. So
Yes.
fantastic. And thank you for recognizing the Promise Foundation. We've got Sue Hawks and Wayne Lowry and
Roland.
They're all listening right now. Excited to see these numbers, excited to see that we're on the right page and the right path going forward. I think, honestly, this is something our board needs to talk about. The big one, the odd one in the room, is the disc golf course.
Yep.
And I think we need to come to terms with that and either put it to bed or recognize that as a resource we need to plan into this park. We've taken it out of the plans. The numbers say that people want it, but we've got one 2 or 3 miles away, and we don't want to compete with Cameron Park. So personally, I think we need to come to terms with it in the Parks and Planning Committee and either put it to bed or add it back in. So that's
Yes.
the only comment I would make.
And that's disc with a C. In our survey, we did disc with a K, and we were informed how incorrect that was. But I just to volley it back, Director Priest, staff did an amazing job, but I think the community did even better job on this one and coming out and spending their time on this and raising their hand to volunteer. I think it says something about this community. It's amazing. It's exceptional.
100%. And I guess on the disc golf and some of the other active things that we're looking at, we have a very unique opportunity here, and Roland Gall is listening right now. I guarantee it. Would agree with me that the habitat preservation and the ability for us to have education that doesn't include active things like disc golf is so critically important. We go down that path one time and it's forever lost. So I think it's important for us to maintain some of those habitats and not activate them like we do on the west side of the property.
Something that staff acknowledges right now, there are a handful of competing uses, functions that we have to consider in the form and the design of this. Disc golf and the passive component, that's the big one you brought up. Dogs, dog walking, the lakes, and the waterfowl, that's something that's been talked about as well. Active sports versus open space and habitat. And what we've been saying is it's going to be many things for much of the community, but it can't be everything for everyone. And that's the pragmatic part of it. Hopefully people can understand that. There's still work to do on it. That concept, we will need it to come back ultimately to the board for a formal approval. The one element that we're definitely waiting on is the traffic component back from the county. We have to know how we can get in and out of this location. We think we know. We need them to tell us, yes, that's okay, of course. And that may change any sort of design that's approved of. I mean, it could be approved without that. I don't think that we need to do that. We have to have that before we can go to design and get approvals anyways or construction drawings, etc. This is a great step forward. And again, I just want to say, I feel like it overall affirms the work that has been done thus far. But I've talked enough. Director Priest has. I know Director Hanson was telling me that he's on now virtually. So we just want to acknowledge that Director Hanson got on about 10 minutes ago. And there's other board members here.
So one of the questions that I had, I noticed that you guys pointed out Rescue School District. I understand why, because we purchased property from them, but Buckeye is also within the vicinity. And for the outdoor education component, I would assume, given the closeness, have we reached out to Buckeye as well?
I would need to confirm. I know that through social media, April was pushing out a lot of the survey to the user groups. And I was aware of Rescue, not of Buckeye though.
I'm quite certain that we've sent out messages to both of the elementary school districts and the high school.
And the Buckeye Foundation as well. And the superintendent for Buckeye came out and did a tour with us along with
Okay.
Dr. Manansala. I mean, they're fully kind of engaged and on board as much as they want to be.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were covering all of El Dorado Hills, not just one portion of El Dorado Hills.
And April just confirmed she did.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, April.
So if we missed some group or someone, it is entirely an oversight, and we'll add their data in if they really wanted to.
Yeah, and I will say the number of responses that you guys received in the outreach is phenomenal. You don't get this kind of feedback normally. I mean, as our outreach folks said, they would have been happy with 400 or 500. 3,000 is unheard of. So huge props to everything that you guys did on the outreach. Amazing. Can we go to the fields? I would love to hear a little bit about the types of fields that we have going out in that area. Does it accommodate lacrosse, soccer? It looked like ball fields. So can you kind of go at least in concept what we're thinking at this point? Sorry,
No,
don't
you're
mean to
good.
put you on the spot.
No. So we have 3 fields planned. One is synthetic, and the other 2 are natural grass. They will end up being able to accommodate the smaller age group for soccer as well as the large field, and then be able to also be very similar to Promontory, to where we're going to be able to overlap and put a lot of different uses out there in one field. So for lacrosse and the different soccer age groups, we'll be able to have them out there.
Could I add to that? So something to put into perspective, it's a 200-acre location. A big piece of it is the body of water that we can't really encroach upon. So then that squashes it down some. But a hop, skip, and a jump away at what's currently called Bass Lake Hills Village Park, a future park, the concept we have on file right now is a big rectangular ball field that could be multi-use. We have also offered that up to potentially be utilized by some of the mountain biking community. We're just trying to work on getting them out there to look at the site with us. It's not a carte blanche offer. It's let's take a look and see if it works and run it through committee. But the reason I brought this up about the ball field that's concepted is that when you add that additional ball field in vicinity to these, you can probably get some good competition play going on with four fields, maybe 3 full size. When I say full, the large size. So just something to keep in mind as we continue to grow in that corridor along Bass Lake Road.
Yeah, thank you. That does help to have an understanding of what is, at least at this point in time, a concept of what's going to be out there. So thank you very much. And
The darker green is the synthetic field.
Yeah.
So you got a synthetic baseball field, and then
yeah. And the last thing I'll say is our master plan number 1 item is trail connectivity. So I know we are talking about the interior of having trails within, but as folks are trying to get to school that's not that far away, and there's other trails out in that vicinity as well, if we can make sure that we're having that connectivity, whether it's inside or just on the outside of that area, so people can get over to the Serrano Parkway, all the way over to Bass Lake Hills and Silver Springs. It's Silver Springs, right?
Silver
Yeah.
Springs, yeah.
Yeah. So just so we have that in mind, talked about like a DG or something like that.
And we're in the middle right now of working with Stantec on the GIS portion of the trail mapping.
Okay.
And so it's already starting to come about where we're being able to see where we have gaps.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tony, going back to kind of the ball field discussion and so forth. By the way, everything looks fantastic. It's mesmerizing looking up there and taking a look at it and seeing what has actually come together thus far. So again, thanks to the Promise Foundation, to everyone that has been involved in this whole project from the get-go. But I assume that because I know El Dorado Hills, we love our baseball. We certainly love, soccer as well. But I assume the North Diamond as well as the South Diamond, what age groups are those designed to accommodate? Are they going to be Little League? Or are they going to be Pony League dimensional fields? Or what types of age groups are they really targeted towards?
We were planning on having where we can reach out to the women's softball group as well as the adult men's, or if they play together, and then as well as the Little League. I don't believe we're planning for a Pony League.
Gotcha. Okay. Because at some point I was, if one of them was going to be a Pony League or adult league, sounds like Kevin was talking earlier about a competition. I think that maybe we should have an adult home run derby out there one of these times.
All right. We heard that the adults wanted to do that pump, pass, and kick too. So
Yes, we
That'd be
did.
fun for all of us.
I told Mike he better just get that going. Mike's out there listening.
Yes.
Get
there
to
were
it, Mike.
a number
Get on
of
it, Mike.
folks
Come on,
who
man.
said that they wanted to do it. Yeah.
Anyways,
So,
Yeah, that's great.
Mike, that's a great question. So the north field right now is pegged for 90-foot bases. So that's the only one in all of El Dorado Hills that we have for 90-foot regulation of 13, 14-year-olds and older. So the thought process and the input we got from Little League and as well as the travel leagues is peg all the fields and design them for all levels. So in other words, you peg
Gotcha.
and you put base allowances in for
Playing.
Each,
every, at
Every
least 3
age.
distances. So then you get the AA, AAA, and then the 90-foot bases as well. Because we really need that.
Right.
yeah.
And then the old Codgers distance, I don't know what that is, but yeah. We need that too. That's for softball stuff.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you again, Tanya. It was a great job and very thorough.
Thank you.
Like to see the feedback we got. Good information.